All right, so today we're going to look at how to wrap presents properly using mathematics. So we'll start with the easiest one, which is your traditional box. It could be a cube or anything that's rectangular prism shaped. So if you have somebody really special, you might want to give them the gift of mathematics. So we're going to do this beautiful math book. Okay? You have to take some measurements first. The first measurement you want to measure is the largest diagonal. Okay? So this book, it looks like I've got 11.75 inches. So the diagonal is 11.75 inches, and you need the height. So the height of the book is 1.25 inches. And then you want to cut a square of wrapping paper, and the side length is the diagonal plus 1.5 times the height. Okay? So diagonal plus 1.5 times the height. So my diagonal was 11.75 plus 1.5 times 1.25. What is that? Yeah, okay, so 13.625. If you get the paper with the grid on the back, it's nice because these are all 1 inch and you can count without measuring the paper. So it's 13.625. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.625. That's going to be about here. All right. So I've got a square, and again, each side length is the longest diagonal plus 1.5 times the height. First time I did this, I was like, there's no way I'm going to wrap this book with this small piece of paper, but it works. So the key is you want to do this diagonally. You want to set the book right in the middle at a 45-degree angle. And if you're not sure you've got it right in the middle, you can measure it real quick. And you want to take your time. This is the key to getting this right, is getting that right in the middle. So take your time. Very good. And then, if you get it right, you should be able to use 2 small pieces of tape. So these corners will go together in the middle. 1 small piece of tape there. And then, again, this should, tuck this in, these corners should cover the remaining triangle perfectly. I guess I need 3 small pieces of tape. There, and right there. And I've covered it perfectly, and there's no extra paper, and I used a very minimal amount of tape. Okay, so with a couple of quick measurements, you can wrap a box perfectly. Okay, I didn't throw away any wrapping paper. I used very little tape. That's that's what we're going for. Cool? All right, now, if you have somebody not so special in your life, you might want to give them the gift of beans, or anything can-related, okay? So what's the best way to wrap a can, or cylinder? I don't know how many of you wrap cans. So the measurements we need for this, we need the circumference. So the circumference looks like it's 9.5, so 9.5 inches. We need the diameter. The diameter looks like it's 3 inches. And we need the height. The height is 4.4 inches. Okay? For the can, we're cutting a rectangle of paper. And we want one side to be height plus diameter. And we want the other side length to be the circumference. Okay? So what would my height plus my diameter be?
7.4.
7.4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.4. And then my circumference was 9.5. Okay. So again, we cut a rectangle of paper. One side is circumference, the other side is height plus diameter. So again, very minimal amount of wrapping paper, okay? We put the can on there, and as we roll it, these should, if you do your measurements right, this should meet up perfectly. And we also want to get it in the center too, so take a little bit of time to make sure it's centered. That looks good. One little piece of tape. And then again, if you get your measurements just right, the top and the bottom, these should, you notice these should meet up right in the middle. One piece of tape. I think I measured a little bit of extra. Those should meet up perfectly. One piece of tape there. These should meet up right in the middle. See how those meet up right in the middle? One piece of tape there. And then you can leave it like this, or you can fold these down and do one more piece of tape. But again, very little tape, and it looks really nice. Okay, so there's the gift of beans or anything cylinder shaped. Okay. Now this one's a little. You might not believe this, but you can actually wrap a ball too. Have you ever tried to wrap a sphere? You actually can. You cannot wrap a ball nicely with a square, a rectangle piece of paper, but you can wrap a ball very nicely if you cut a piece of wrapping paper like this, with petals, okay? So the length of each petal should be half the circumference, okay? The width of each petal depends on how many petals you use. I used 4 petals, so the width should be 1/4 of the circumference. If you use 8 petals, the width should be 1/8 of the circumference, and so on. The more petals you use, the better it is. Okay, but I did 4 because that's what I had time for. And if you set the sphere right in the middle, all of the petals should meet up in one point. And you should be able to use one small piece of tape. Look at that. Let me get my tape. So all the points should meet right in the middle. One small piece of tape. And then you might decide to use a piece of tape on the seams as well, but we've wrapped the ball. Okay? The more petals you use, the better it will look, but even 4, this is probably better than the way you normally wrap something like this, right? Okay, so just a few examples.